What's happening, guys? My name is Colorado Dual Sport, and this week I plan to answer a question that I get asked on pretty much a weekly basis. You guys write me messages, and I try to reply to them all, but the message that I get most often is, "Hey CDS, I'm new to the Denver area, just bought my first Dual Sport, and can you give me some advice on some great places to ride?" So what we're going to cover this week is my top 5 places for new riders to get familiar with riding on the dirt, get a little bit of experience, and as we go, we'll move on up in difficulty. But we're going to keep everything pretty easy this week, just so you guys know where you guys can head out to and ride and be safe and not get yourself into any sticky situations. So let's go ahead and jump right on into number 1. One of the first places I always recommend people learning how to ride go to is one of the thousands of miles of fire roads that we have here in Colorado. What the fire roads offer are, normally a nice graded experience where you can get used to how the bike's going to handle underneath you once you get off-road, how it's going to move around and whatnot. It's going to offer you a chance to learn how to corner in the dirt, which is a big thing. But you can usually do it at your pace. There may be some small vehicle traffic, but most of these places get pretty remote, and you can just take your time, learn how your bike's going to handle off-road, learn your body position, how you need to be. But fire roads really are a big percentage of the riding that there is to do in Colorado, so starting out there with them being pretty easy is always a good bet. Mile North is one of those places that you will go and ride, and then for the rest of the time that you live in Colorado, you are always going to want to go back there. This was one of my earlier trail experiences. 4 Mile North is easy trails. It introduces a little bit of sand into things. It introduces some hill climbs. Nothing major, nothing that for a new rider would really make you feel out of place or feel like it's going to be dangerous. But even for the more experienced guys, it's a place to go where you're just going to have a blast riding. It's really fast, really flowy stuff. But even for the new guys, it's somewhere where you can ride that you'll really just enjoy yourself and not really worry about getting too technical or getting in over your head. And it's somewhere that I always say that I want to go back to, but it's out in Buena Vista, or near Buena Vista, and it's a really long haul from here, and it's hard to say, now that I'm a little bit better of a rider, that I would make a trip to go specifically back there. But if we're ever in the area again, and I always bug Miss Stacy about it every single time we're out there, I'm like, hey, we need to go spend a whole day at 4 Mile. Because when we were there, we didn't even get to experience the entire place. If you want to watch any of these places, any of the clips that I have that are labeled, I have videos from them. Go back in the archives and you can see a lot more footage from these places. I do warn you that a lot of them are older, so the quality isn't nearly what it is if you're a new subscriber to what the videos are today. But for easy trails for beginners that are just going to learn some new techniques, 4 Mile North is like the place to go to do that. We didn't encounter much traffic there. It was pretty empty while we were there, but I would watch out. There you're probably going to see a lot of quads and maybe some of the razors and whatnot, because the trails are kind of wide. But yeah, you can see for miles, so you don't really need to worry too much. And like I said, the trails are excellent, and great for learning to ride in a little bit of the looser terrain that you're going to experience here in Colorado in some places. It's not all giant rocks. There is a lot of sand, there's a lot of pea gravel, a lot of loose stuff, and this is a great place to learn how to ride on the looser stuff and have a great time riding these trails. Coming in at number 3, we have Tarryall Reservoir. Tarryall Reservoir is out in the Jefferson, Colorado area. Also, if you ride Forest Route 211 that I had earlier in the video, Tarryall Reservoir is actually very near the end of Forest Route 211. The reason Tarryall comes in at number 3 is because it starts on a very easy graded dirt road, which you can ride the entire way through the OHV area. It's awesome. It's another really fast, flowy forest road. But branching off of that dirt road, there are trails on either side that you can pick. As you can see in this one, we took Trail 144, which is the first major trail to the left, I believe. But the trails down in the valley are super easy, super fast, super flowy. But they start to add in a little bit more sand. Sand riding is going to be a big thing for you new riders. You guys are going to be terrified of it. But trust me, I did it myself. It's doable. And, you know, within 100 miles through some sandy trails, you'll be an absolute pro and you won't be scared of it at all. If you want to check out some sand riding videos, I have some of those in the archive to give you some pointers on how to ride in sand. But yeah, Tarryall starts out like this down in the valley. Then all of a sudden, it starts to move up into a little bit more difficult terrain as you start riding up into the mountains. Introduces some rocks, some steeper hill climbs, some washouts and things like that. So that's why it comes in at number 3. Gets a little bit more difficult, but still, for newer riders, it's something that might test you a little bit. But if you want to skip that stuff, you can. You can stay down in the valley and ride the flowy stuff all day. I mean, there's hundreds of miles of trails out there. But if you want to challenge yourself, you can head up some of the steeper, more rocky stuff. The trails there are very well marked. And overall, Tarryall Reservoir is a great OHV area, and it can be found in any one of the OHV books to give you a little bit more description. And you can also go back and watch the videos in the archives. Number 4 has got to be Hackerman Pass. Hackerman Pass is a place that I took Miss Stacy to up near Leadville, where there is just absolutely beautiful riding. The only problem is around Leadville, the riding gets a little bit more difficult. You're riding up at a higher elevation. There are quite a few more rocks. The trails get a little bit more technical. But Hagerman Pass is kind of a really nice intermediate place once you've got your basic concepts down, you're feeling confident in your riding. It's a good place to introduce yourself to what we call baby heads here in Colorado. Baby heads are rocks that are the size of a baby's head. And that's a lot of the more difficult riding here in Colorado is on those giant rocks. Well, they're not even giant, they're small. But your tire, your bike's going to start moving around a lot more underneath you. But Hagerman Pass starts out as a nice dirt road. Then all of a sudden you turn a corner and wham, it turns into unmaintained 4-wheel drive road. And it just steadily gets more difficult from there. The thing about Hagerman Pass is it goes up above tree line, so you get up into some really beautiful country, and it's really not that difficult. On Hagerman Pass, you're going to learn things like how much keeping up some momentum is going to help your riding. The more throttle, the better in some of these situations. If you keep yourself moving, you'll be just fine. If you're going to be putting around in first gear with your feet down, this is definitely not the place to start out riding. But once you got a little bit of riding under your belt and you're getting a little bit more secure in your riding, this is a great place to go. Extremely, extremely scenic. And once you get down the other end, it leads to an even more scenic road called Frying Pan Road that I have a video of it. Like I said, all these videos, look back in the archive. You guys can see the full thing and see exactly what you're going to get yourselves into. But yeah, definitely have to recommend Hagerman Pass for those guys that are, you know, over the flat trail kind of riding and are ready for a little bit more of a challenge. Definitely gonna have to head up to Leadville and check out some of the trails up there, and I strongly recommend Hackerman Pass. Last but not least, we have the good old Rampart Range. What would any kind of riding video be from Colorado without a little bit of the world famous Rampart Range trail system? However, Rampart Range comes with a few major caveats. For those of you that are new riders, I strongly recommend staying away from Rampart Range trails until you get very familiar with how to ride trails in Colorado. These trails, they're marked well, but you need a map. You can pick up a map at any one of the local motorsport stores in Denver. You can also get maps at the Sprucewood, which is at the bar at Rampart Range. But yeah, you definitely need to have a map for these, and also you need to know what you're getting into. These trails are mostly pea gravel, very loose, you know, more difficult to ride on, more difficult terrain, a lot of very steep hill climbs, a lot of very bad washouts, because the rain just comes down these trails and the snow in the winter melts off, and it just turns these trails into a giant rut. You also need to watch out because these trails are not one way. These trails have traffic moving both directions, and it's a lot of blind corners and a lot of very steep sections where if you encounter another rider coming the other way, you got to be ready for it. You got to have a contingency plan, or you're going to be going off of a cliff to the right or the left, depending on where you are. But once you're more familiar with the trails and riding in Colorado, Rampart Range is phenomenal riding. This is the place that Hermit always says shall not be named, and I'm sure he's gonna be sending me a nasty message or leaving a nasty comment on this video because I'm telling you guys what that place is. But Rampart Range, a little piece of insider advice: if you're gonna go up and ride Rampart Range, go up and ride Rampart Range after work on like a Tuesday. Because Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Rampart Range is just mobbed with people. But if you go up, you know, take a day off or even a half day and go up and ride on a Tuesday after work, a Wednesday after work, there is almost no one there, and you will have all of these beautiful trails to yourself. Like I said, just to reiterate, make sure you bring a map, make sure you know the levels of trails that you're going to be riding. Because the trail that I'm showing in this video is nice and easy, but if you take a long left or take a wrong right, you can end up on a black diamond type trail and get into trouble really quick. So yeah, just exercise extra caution when you're up at Rampart Range. Definitely do not suggest riding there alone, because these trails go really far out into the bush. No cell service. And if you have a bike issue or, God forbid, a crash and get hurt, you're going to be in the middle of nowhere for a long time by yourself and have a long walk out. But again, world-class trail system. Could not do a video about this stuff without mentioning it. Definitely, once you guys get your skills up a little bit, you're feeling really confident on the pea gravel. A good place to learn how to ride on the pea gravel is actually Rampart Range Road. As long as you're plated, you can go out and ride Rampart Range Road, and it's the pea gravel, the same as the trails, but it's graded road, and you can get used to cornering on it, because cornering on it is literally like riding on marbles. So it's an entirely different feel of riding from sand riding or dirt riding, or even the baby heads. That pea gravel stuff will get you quick. Momentum is key. But absolutely love riding at Rampart Range. Miss Stacy, I still don't take Miss Stacy there, and she's been riding for over a year now. She has absolutely no interest in riding those trails just because she feels that they're a little bit over her head. But if you ask Hermit where he wants to go ride, he's gonna say Rampart Range, guaranteed. Oh, another thing, I took Everride took Everride out to Rampart Range, and he was like, "Dude, I'm coming back to Colorado just to ride more Rampart Range as soon as I have a baby and have a chance to get out there." All right, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope it's been a help to some of the newer riders. A lot of these places are great for newer riders. Don't be discouraged by what I just said about Rampart Range. I mean, you know, once your skills are there, go out there and ride it and enjoy it. But until you get to that point, enjoy the places that I mentioned earlier. Just make sure, you know, ride safe, always wear your gear, always be watching out for oncoming traffic, especially on the fire roads. People like to ride fast, even myself, but you know, you got to watch out for those blind corners. So yeah, as Tankerman would say, be safe. Yeah, that's pretty much it. If you guys have any suggestions for any other videos that you'd like me to produce, please like the Facebook page. It is Facebook.com/Colorado Dual Sport, all one word. Throw a like up there, post some pictures of your bikes. Feel free to post on the page. Feel free to send me messages if you have any questions. Just be mindful that I get hundreds of messages, so it may take me a little while to get back to you, but I try and get back to every single one. And as always, I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you so much for your support, and hope you guys are enjoying the videos. I'll catch you next week. Peace.